There's a lot of great teachers, but they're not paid that great. Already, barrier to entry.
Yeah, barrier to entry is fairly low.
It's fairly low. Most people can get in, and then they're like a lot of time overworked.
Underpaid, not incentivized.
Yeah. Let's do a cheers.
Cheers. Oh, your nails are so pretty.
Ooh, nice.
This was a good combo.
Okay, all right.
I think it's honestly the iced.
Yeah.
So good.
All right, what did you do?
So
What's the rundown?
It's the cold brew stock coffee. I got Instacart delivered.
Oh, okay, yeah, like shout out all the brands.
Got Instacart delivered, and they gave me my order and someone else's order.
I love when that happens. I love when that
Well,
happens.
and I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a good person. I'm gonna let them know, like, I got the wrong groceries, and they were like, well, you can just keep it or give it away. And I was like, okay, like I did, my part.
And this is what you got.
Anyway, I got this cold brew. It's the stock cold
Cheers.
brew.
Okay,
Yeah.
sponsored by
Stop. And then it's Costco whole milk, and then it's vanilla almond sugar-free sweetener, and a
Save
little
our
bit
cows.
of cinnamon.
Beautiful. Okay. One time when you lived with me, we would get
Where?
at our house, at my house.
Okay, at your house. Okay.
I would get those people would order their groceries to our house wrong all the time.
That's
Do you remember
right.
that? And you would get stuff from Walmart, like
Yeah,
and
they would
give
just
us,
like.
and it wasn't as ideal because it was like so unhealthy.
Yeah,
it was
was
like
never.
Fruit Loops and
Yeah,
like
this order that they gave me was like all healthy food. It was like protein shakes and guacamole.
Wait,
and
are
I
you
was like,
serious?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I was like, ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Wow, that worked out great.
So anyway, I was like, I'm not gonna leave anyone a bad review because this
Yeah.
worked out well for me.
Dude,
It's
yeah.
honestly an accident anyway.
Yeah.
You're probably confused.
Okay, perfect. Well, I am Izzy, obviously,
And I'm Maggie.
and we are your co-hosts of the Long Game podcast.
Long Game.
We are keeping it that name for right now. We don't know what direction we're going to take it, but we are officially taking over the Long Game as co-hosts, which is very exciting.
I'm super excited.
Something that we've talked about doing for a really long time is literally just doing projects together, doing things together,
working together.
And I feel like we used to talk about that a lot when we were younger. We're like, we should do a podcast, like when we were on walks and stuff, because we would just talk so much. So, very excited.
I know, and I feel like we'll just have endless topics.
I know. Yeah. Okay. And starting out with homeschool.
Yes.
Because people like to hear about that. They want to know about that. And it's an interesting thing. And it was like what you were saying earlier. We've both had super different homeschool experiences.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay, so let's start with yours. Let's talk about your homeschool experience and like what you really liked about it, what you didn't like about it, if anything, and then would you recommend it? Okay, so just give it like the overview, like of your mom.
Really liked about it. So my homeschool experience was very structured. Like, as you know, my mom like went through programs. Like, we did a couple of different programs, but it was always like the curriculum was already like written out. You knew what books to order every year, and like we had like some standardized tests through the program too at the end of the semester. So it was all like very systematized, which is not everyone's like homeschool experience.
You had like school hours basically, right?
Like, we would
started at a
basically
certain time. Do you guys do like morning group, like morning time?
I feel. What do you mean morning time?
We had morning time.
No.
It didn't happen every day. We'd get into rhythm, but it's everyone. What do we call it? Meeting time. We called it meeting time.
No.
We had meeting time. Sorry.
I know. Okay, this is part of your experience.
Yeah. I was like, did you have that too?
No, we didn't have meeting time. Okay, we did. So we would do like breakfast in the mornings together. And then I feel like school would start around like 9. Like none of us were super early risers. Some of my siblings like really like to sleep in. So we would start around 9. I feel like we'd go 9 to 12. I know. Oh my gosh, 9 to 12. I feel like so we would have like 3 solid like morning hours of school, and then we'd break for lunch. Everyone would kind of do their own thing for lunch. Like my mom was super big on like she made so many meals, but it was like she would make breakfast. Lunch was like on your own, make your own thing.
You had all the things.
And then it was kind of like after lunch were the older kids' times for doing like more school, because like my mom would work with them like for them who needed like more more help, like more support. Exactly. So I feel like that was kind of, and then the little kids would just do their thing. But it's like, you don't need 8 hours.
No, I know.
To do school.
It's insane.
Like, yeah, we would have like 3 solid hours and then a couple after in the afternoon.
And then you would go outside and everything. And that's the thing that I'm realizing too with kids that I work with, coach. Like, I was like they show up at like 4 and they just came from school. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such a nice day out. Did you like get it? Like, they're in this one school district, they do not go outside for their lunch break.
Wow.
At all. Even if it's nice weather. They're in the cafeteria. So I was like, did you get outside at all today? And no. Not at all in the 8 hours that they're there.
Oh my gosh.
They don't get outside at all.
I'm
like, what? Like, that's crazy. So what time would you end on a late day versus an early day?
I mean, it would always depend. It's like sometimes you had to do schoolwork in the evening if you like didn't get something done. But I feel like we would typically end around like 3-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, it usually wasn't later than that. And then my dad was a teacher, so he would get back from work in the later afternoon, and we were like usually finished by then with everything. So,
but even wouldn't start till like 9, which is crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, but it was also nice because then it was like, I remember my mom being flexible with certain kids, like as far as like some of them, like some of my siblings really like to sleep in. Like, they just needed more sleep. And so like they were allowed to sleep in a little bit longer. Like there was a little more leniency. Like you don't have that when you go to public school. Like there's just there's no flexibility.
How you are.
Yeah, and I think that is cool. So I loved that. I loved that we weren't stuck inside for 8 hours in a day. As far as what I didn't like about it, I think it would have been cool to do like more like group activities outside of my siblings. And some homeschoolers do that more. I feel like we didn't do that as much. We didn't do like a ton of what's it called when you go out?
Co-ops and stuff.
Co-ops, yeah.
Field trips.
Field trips. Yes, we didn't do field trips.
Yeah. Okay.
And I feel like that would have been cool to do more of. But I also had 6 siblings. So
I think you guys joined some of our field trips a couple of times.
Yeah, we did.
Somewhere. I don't know where we went, but like...
It might have even been like a park or like a museum, you know, it wasn't like anything crazy.
I had a really cool year in homeschool where my mom like that's all that we did for one semester was field trip.
That's really cool.
It was really cool.
Wow.
We went to so many places and then we just like had to write a thank you letter.
That's awesome.
And that was like...
talk about a lost art, a thank you letter, like addressing a letter. I don't think most kids know how to do that. We had to write thank you letters for everything, like after every birthday, like at Christmas.
Comes back to the gratitude thing we were talking about. Be grateful, like express gratitude. Okay, and nothing you would change really.
Yeah, besides like the field trips and stuff, I mean, doing more co-ops together, I feel like I really liked it. And then like the transition from homeschool to college
That's what
was
I was
not...
say. You felt equipped.
Yeah, I felt equipped. I also did like dual enrollment. When I was in high school, so I went to like my community college.
I feel like college was actually very easy for you.
It was not. It was not hard. Yeah, I mean, I was like nervous going into it, but I think anyone is. It's just like, oh my god, like,
what is happening?
Exactly, but it wasn't. I didn't struggle or anything academically. So I feel, and I feel like a lot of people will talk about that, like, you know, if you homeschool your kids, like they're not going to know what to do in college. And, like, the standardized test, and it's like that was not
a problem for you at all.
An issue for me.
And there's a lot of other homeschoolers who are like that. Who are just like, they're smarter, they get done quicker, they know how to be efficient, like they learned all the things.
And I've heard that colleges are starting to recognize that more, like how equipped homeschoolers actually are. For college, so it's interesting. But that was my experience.
Yeah, that was a great experience.
What about you?
So, you be knowing. Okay, so my experience.
I do.
I say, Maggie was one of my teachers. My experience was, I joked that it was like not school. I was like not schooled, low-key, in a couple ways. For a couple reasons, obviously dyslexia and dysgraphia. I was in a weird point where it's like, Maddie and Jack were the older ones. They didn't have dyslexia and learning disabilities, so it was just like, okay, kind of like how you were talking about, like, you get your stuff, you do your stuff, and it's not that big of a deal. struggled to, I couldn't read what I was supposed to do, or like.
When did you know that you like had dyslexia, dysgraphia? Like when?
I feel like it was, so I knew because they told me, and it was terrible. The way I found out, I felt like, so did I tell you this?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like
my parents called me into their bedroom one day, and they're like, we need to sit down and talk to you. And I was like, I'm in trouble again. Like, who knows?
Again,
like, literally, who knows what this is going to be? And they're like, we just want to let you know that, because they had put me, I was just always getting tested for things, like, I feel like, and they put me in this test for learning disabilities. They just told me it was like,
but you didn't know.
I had no idea. I was just like,
just doing your
I'm
thing.
just doing my thing. And they're like, so we know you're dyslexic. We've known this for like a year. And Maddie and Jack, like your older siblings, also know this about you. Like, I felt like it sucked. I felt like this lump in my throat. I'm like, you guys know this terrible thing about me, and like I didn't know it.
Oh.
I was like, why didn't you tell me that? So
how old were you?
I think I was like 13, like 12 or 13. Yeah. I mean, I knew though. I was so humiliated, embarrassed about it all the time because I couldn't read. Like by 10, I was like the cat. Like those are the words. Yes.
Yeah.
And I just remember being like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I had a lump in my throat, and I was literally just like, well, okay. And they're like, and this doesn't mean you get to like make any excuses. And we were like debating whether telling you or not telling you, but we just decided that we're going to tell you. And so I was just like, I didn't really know what to do with it. I was just like,
it's like, you need help.
I was like, yeah, assistance, please. No, it was just like, yeah. And so I was like, okay. And that was literally the end of that.
Wow.
And so I'm not sure if I would have done that the same way, but that was literally how I found out. And then I was like, I think there was a little bit of relief of like, it makes sense, but it wasn't presented to me in a way too where I was like, oh, I'm just going to figure this out. Still, I was just like, I felt so ill-equipped. I was like, this sucks so bad. Because I was in that weird in-between stage, and then I was kind of the caretaker of a lot of my younger siblings for a lot of time. So that was like, that's what I poured myself into rather than school. It was like that and sports. So, and my parents tried. Like, my dad definitely did try to teach me things and stuff, and like whatever.
But it's almost like you need like a tutor, someone who actually knows how to teach.
And they did end up doing that. So then I did end up, and that was crucial. So then they ended up getting me a tutor for learning disability who I worked with twice a week. Her name was Carol Huber, shout out. I was low-key a tyrant to her, I feel like, because it was, I would like, and it wasn't like actually like, I just was smart in the sense I was like, I'll just befriend this person, and because I was so afraid I wasn't gonna be able to like even get through that. So it's like, as long as you like me and we're friends, then I'll be okay. Like, that was my thought process. So I would stall all the time. I'd be like, so what did you do today? And she'd be like, and then, but she would talk to, and so, but like, I would stall. I would give her the runaround.
That's hilarious.
She was so helpful and so patient. I probably worked with her for like a year.
Okay.
And that helped really a lot. Cool. And then I did like one summer thing that I didn't realize that I was in this thing with all the kids who were like failing public school and everything, like couldn't read. And it was like every Friday for a summer. So I did do that.
Okay.
And that like, I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't done that, to be honest. So that was really huge. And
so anyway, like that, like dyslexia and dysgraphia being like part of the homeschooling experience, just made it harder.
Yeah, I think if because my other siblings didn't really struggle. Like, that wasn't their experience. Like, Jack and Maddie did really well. They were in college by like 14.
Yeah, they were like super early graduates.
Yes. Yeah, like crazy. Like, they absolutely crushed, which I think didn't help me in my head because I'm like, I'm a loser. Like, they really absolutely crushed it. Like, by the time Jack was 16, he wanted to have a season to play at Chico High, and they were like, you can't, you're a graduate. You have every single credit you could possibly take. And my mom was just really good at being like, no, this doesn't count because of this, and this. And then they had to literally fake it.
Like finagle it so that he could stay another semester.
Yeah, because he was that ahead. And so was my sister.
Wow.
And then I was just
I do remember that.
Yeah, they were like very good. And then for the most part, I know Sawyer, like one of my younger brothers, Sawyer, like I think he's dyslexic as well. Not as extreme, but like I feel like pretty much all my siblings do really well, like did it in school. Like it's not been a huge issue. Some of them have had some struggles. And they were all homeschooled at me. So I feel like I was like not the norm, like, cause they all did well.
You like the odd one out.
Yeah, I was kind of, so I don't just think like, oh, homeschool's bad or like it didn't work. Like I was they didn't know how to deal with me. So it was just like a weird thing, but it ended up like really helping me to learn how to figure out how to get things done, because I was like, I can't do it the way everyone else does. Like that's why you would help me with like everything,
right?
Especially by the time I got to college.
Yes. So okay, wait. Before we get to college, though, what was your day to day? Like, when would you start?
Insane.
Was there a start time?
So we would go through like little phases of like consistency, and then it would just be gone. So we never even had like summer break or anything, because we never even had enough like I would literally go like 2 weeks not doing any school.
Wow.
Like I wouldn't, but it didn't like. The thing is, my dad would still try to, he would get me, Maddie, and Jack up in the morning, and he would read to us pretty early, and that like does so much for kids.
To read to them?
To read to them. So I had that, and then I had so many life experiences.
You've always been really smart.
Yeah.
Like you just needed to learn like the studying part, like
I didn't
how
know
to study.
I did not know how to study at all, but I knew how to like learn, and I would always journal. So I always journaled, and so I had that, and then so the day-to-day, so for different seasons we'd have meeting time, and that was supposed to be like at 9.
Is it everyone, all your siblings?
All the siblings sit down for meeting time, and we would go over the day, which was like
what your plans were for the day?
No, like it was not and we would
That's
go.
Hilarious.
I think we had a song for it too. We'd be like meeting time, something like that. I have no idea. And like one sibling would just like, mom would be like, tell everyone it's meeting time, and someone would literally be like, meeting time, and everyone would have to like run into the living room for meeting time.
Oh my gosh.
And then my mom she'd read the Bible to us. We'd read some of the Bible, and then she'd read a book to us. And that was like, I think that was because that was always there, like not always, but a lot, like meeting time was not at a certain time, but sometimes it would be like at 1 we got to meeting time, or like 11, I would say like 3 out of 5 days we have meeting time if you look at it like for the year, for a couple years. So it was,
I did not know that.
That was very good for us. Yeah. So to like have
we would do the Pledge of Allegiance before.
That is so funny to me. Oh, that's awesome.
We had like a little flag on the wall, and we'd just be like, Pledge Allegiance.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Did you do prayers too or anything?
I don't know if we didn't do morning prayer. We always did night prayer, like as a family. But not as much. Anyway. Yeah. That's as close as we got to like meeting time.
Yeah. Meeting time. I'll never forget that. Yeah. And then my mom would read to us, and she would read such good books to us. Like, there's this one book, it's called Something Family Farms. And it's about a vet and he has like 4 different books, and like it's about a vet who like just went to different family farms and had all these different experiences, and it was like incredible writing. And I'll never forget like this one sentence, and it was just like, as a tear rolled down the network of wrinkles on her face, or something like that,
like super descriptive.
And it was just so well written, and I mean like 11, like wow, that's like really good. And my mom paused and was like, that's such good writing, and like so I had that, and I think that was like
being read to, that's huge. I mean, starting super young, I hear like that it's really good to read to your babies.
Yes, to just
before
read.
They're talking, anything, just read to them.
Yeah, I think because like we're just actually getting that. So she read us really great things. So, and then after that, it was just like, I don't even know. There was. I remember sometimes my mom would try to do phonics with me. And she would get frustrated, I would get frustrated, it didn't end well. Like, we just didn't really do that. And then we eventually ended up doing the charter through core.
Yeah.
So then we had some tutors come in, but it was like a weird thing where like I would be learning like my younger sister's curriculum because I was like in between. So I was like, this is so dumb to me. Like, I don't know.
Like, I'm way above this.
Yeah, but I also didn't even know.
You also needed it.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it was, but again, then it would just be like, I just always found workarounds because I was afraid I couldn't get it done.
Right.
So it would just be like, people now that are close friends with me, it was like Noelle and Lais were like my tutors.
Yeah.
And like Lais would just do it for me because I'd be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
And then, but that didn't help you either because
no,
then you like had other people do it.
Help, yeah. And then when I finally started doing independent study through Chico High, again, I would just be able to finagle it to get through it because like it just worked out. And then I remember finally I switched independent study teachers and I just sat down with the teacher. I said, I feel like I don't know anything, like legitimately. I don't know basic grammar. Like I was like, I don't know what a noun is. I don't know what a verb is. I was like, I don't like, and then it's so crazy because you get to college and like, did that ever matter? Like, did that, like, it actually, like, it didn't matter that I didn't know that. I still needed to like, it would have made it easier.
Sure, yeah. For like writing and stuff, yeah.
And I just tried to figure it, and then it was terrible. And then I got to college, and I was like, I have no option but to figure out how to like learn to. I didn't know how to study, basically.
Yeah.
At all.
So how did you learn how to study?
So obviously, I think when you and I took that math class. That is a dark story.
Despina girl. Oh my gosh, good times.
I started to understand, like, with math, there was you had to study.
Oh my gosh.
But I didn't know what that word meant, to study. I'm like, I just was like, if I can get a job done, it's done. What is study? Like, I didn't understand. I was like, wow, I'm going to do extra work? I'm going to, for fun? Like, no, if I had a worksheet, I'll finish the worksheet. I'm not going to study, though. What is that?
Okay.
Like, legit, I really didn't understand that. And then we started studying together. So I think that taught me a lot. I was like, okay, you got to just drill this, I guess. Like,
right.
You need to just practice this. And then like, once I moved away and got into college, I was like, I just leaned on all my resources. Like, every single person, I would just go to tutors and study with tutors. One for like the help, but two for the accountability.
Nice.
Because I didn't know how to do that on my own.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I just go to study hall, and you just sit down with someone one-on-one.
That's so helpful.
And just go through your work.
Yeah. It's like you're not going to do anything else.
Yeah. Yep. And then I just did that, and then after a couple of years, I feel like I figured out, and then I felt like.
Yeah, you got really good.
Yeah, I feel like my last year, or like my last year. I don't know, our semester.
I feel like your last couple.
I felt like it was easy.
Yeah.
I was like, I know.
No,
how to
you
do
started
this
getting
now.
all A's, and like your writing was amazing. I mean, your professors were blown away by some of your essays.
Yeah, that was the thing. Even when I was younger in college, even though like some of the stuff was like all my writing classes, they were always like.
Yeah. And I think even in high school, it was just like your grammar that held you back, but your writing itself was really good. Like, you knew how to tell a story.
Exactly.
It was,
I was competent. I still can't spell well. Like, it's
it's gotten so much better.
Yeah,
like, your grammar and your spelling has gotten way better. Yeah.
You can like understand what I'm saying now. No, that is something I was so grateful for, because my independent study teacher, like I got really blessed with people who were just like, I would have intelligent conversations. I'd have deep conversations. I would ask questions back. Like I would just talk to people for a super long time. And it was Mr. Craig. He was a really smart guy. You remember how much I loved him. And I need to take like the exit exam for, you need to take it for English and and math. And you can't graduate high school unless you take that.
Oh, wow.
And so you have to go in and you have to write an essay. And you have to answer questions and then write an essay. And before I went in, he pulled me aside. He said, I need to tell you this right now. He is like, at the top of your page, before you do anything else, I need you to write, I am dyslexic. Grade me on my reasoning and my thoughts versus my grammar and spelling. Wow. And he told me to do that.
Oh my gosh.
I also literally didn't know how to spell the word dyslexic. That's a hard word to spell.
Yeah, how unfair.
What the heck?
All the dyslexic people.
It's like people with a lisp can't say lift.
It's so wrong.
It sucks. Yeah. So I literally think that is the way that like,
wow.
that was.
I didn't know that.
I had people like that in my life. I feel like all the time that were just like saw that I was like,
no, that you were trying, you were working hard.
I was like trying. And then as far as math, the math exam, grace of God, not even kidding. I have no idea how I passed that.
Wow.
Really, I have no idea. Because I had no idea. I was literally just guessing. And I was like, I passed. I have no idea how. I really don't know how. But that would have like held me up.
Yeah, but some of those, I mean, like I did horrifically on the SATs. I don't even know what I got.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that.
I'm like, I'm okay at test taking, like it's fine. But with the SATs, I did not do well. I had like a 3.9 in college. Like like GPA. Like it was not. Yeah. I think that those tests are just really silly. But
yeah. I don't know or care what I got, but like I was like, hey, it's over. It's done. Because it doesn't affect anything. Like if you're just, most people can't afford to go to like a major college anyway. A lot of people are going to go to the community college first or like do whatever else.
Yeah.
It's just like,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, so for me.
But you passed your tests, made it out of high school.
Yeah, made it through college, which is a huge accomplishment, honestly. Yeah. And to like, thanks. And I've graduated with honors, and by the end of it, to have enjoyed it was just like a huge thing. So I'm very, very proud of that.
I feel like you had some really good experiences with certain professors too.
Yeah, I really did.
There were some cool ones.
I really, really did. Yeah. So ultimately, my college experience I think was great. It taught me how it teaches you to get stuff done. Yeah. Get instructions, complete the task in a timely manner, and that's it. Yeah. People can't do that, like in work and stuff. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So what would you change about your homeschool experience? What would you do differently?
I think like I said, I think for most of my siblings, I don't feel like a lot of them were like ill-equipped to get everything done. I think I was just a very specific situation. I just would have been like, okay, an hour or 2 hours every morning, we're just working on we're just going to teach you the basics. We're going to teach you how to study. We're going to teach you like just work with a tutor, work with whoever, because it was funded by the the charter school, the tutors anyways. Oh, wow. So it was like we didn't have to pay for we got an allowance for the tutors. So I'm like, I just would have been like, but I was helpful though. I was helpful around my house. I was like an asset around my house with all the things. So I had a lot of responsibility. So I think it was kind of like, she'll be fine, and I was. So
yeah, no, you did figure it out, but. I mean, probably better to have figured it out sooner, like before college.
Yeah,
than
100%.
That would have been more ideal.
I certainly would not go about it that way. But I'm also like grateful for the experience I had, and also if like 1 of 8 didn't have a great homeschool experience, as far as academically being prepared, I think you're doing pretty good. So that's how I feel about it. Like, I think I used to be pretty pissed about it. I was like, what the heck? Why didn't you guys like prepare me or help me? And now I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, it's so interesting now because I feel like for a while when I was younger, I was like, no, I don't want to homeschool my kids. Like, I want them to be able to go to school and whatever. And now I'm like, no, I think we need to homeschool our kids.
Yeah. I think I always thought I was going to homeschool my kids though, actually.
I think so, yeah. Which is so interesting because like you didn't have the perfect homeschool experience, but I think you saw all of the benefits to it though.
Yeah, I did. No. And I just think I just like knowing what's going on too, at least. Because I feel like too, 100%. Like I deal with kids, I work with kids now who have learning disabilities and stuff, and they really struggle in school. Yeah. So to be honest, if I had a kid who had a learning disability, which is not unlikely that could happen, like it's passed down in my family, like
you could personalize it so much for them and actually allow them to learn at their speed.
I feel like they would struggle more. Now the overarching, as far as the academic stuff with homeschool, yes, like for me 100%, I think I would way more support for sure, hands down, and not in a disciplinary way. Like, you suck at reading, punishment. What? No, none of that. That's so uncool, bro.
Yeah, that's not helpful.
I am not doing that, and they did that. That's not cool, and I don't support that or respect that. Like, no. But overall, like, those things were only 1 out of 8. So I'm like, you did pretty good.
Right.
Same with you. Academically, you guys all crush it. Socially, though,
we were amazing.
Socially, that is where I have some certain things, like just like fashion and like learning how to like.
Yeah, I think and
those
that's
things.
Something I feel like my siblings and all of my siblings, and I think yours too, like everyone has like a little bit of a different experience with the homeschooling, but I feel like a lot of my siblings like struggled with like the social aspect, and especially like starting to like getting your first job and like going to college. The social part was the harder part, I feel like, than academics.
Yes, you guys crushed academics and struggled more on the social side.
Yeah, and we did, like, I mean, we hung out with other homeschoolers, but it was like, you're still hanging out with only homeschoolers. Yeah, and we were in some sports, but I feel like a little more, I would definitely be very aware of like, all right, we're going out and we're getting like life experience, like you're gonna be comfortable talking to strangers, you know, and like, I don't know, in some ways my parents were aware of that, like we were taught to like shake people's hands, look them in the eye, very respectful, but
I have that too,
just not comfortable in new settings.
I didn't know how to get along with other groups of kids. Like that was just coming into team environments. Ooh, like that's groups of girls that age, if you're not,
no idea.
And so that's why I would also, like, I didn't get to be put in sports for so long. I feel like you could, and then that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like you can negate a lot of all those social things if you just get them in activities. Put them 100%. In sports. Get them around other, you know? But like from a young age, but I didn't have that. It was like shelter. I'm not doing that.
And same thing with my siblings too. Some of my older siblings did sports. Some of my younger ones for like a little while, but I feel like if we had done sports consistently from a young age, I think that does make a huge difference.
100%. Yeah. As soon as I really had that and stuff, that I feel like, I don't know, that helped me a lot though. To just being around that, being on understanding how that works, because it's a whole different, like, you're just awkward if you don't know, like you don't know what everything is. You're not confident in that situation. You're like, what's happening? You don't know what's normal, what's not normal.
Yeah, but the more group settings you're in, like the more comfortable you get. Now I'm way more comfortable, but I mean, I remember being younger and like going to hang out with you and like writing out talking points with Izzy, like what will we talk about, because I was like so stressed about.
Did you bring those with you? Did you review those in the bathroom?
I think I may have.
Color? That reminds me of Schitt's Creek.
Which one?
She's with Alexa at breakfast, and she's like,
wasn't she trying to find out what her middle name was?
Oh my gosh, yeah, and she was asking her something, and also like, give that to me, ew.
She wrote down questions,
Yeah,
I would do that because I was like really worried that we wouldn't have things to talk about, but I probably just like way overthought. It really was never a problem with you. I probably just way overthought social interactions in general, but so good. But the more like experiences I had with it, just the easier it got. Like I would sweat before making a phone call. My mom would sometimes be, you have to call this person, you have to like set up this appointment, and I was like, I don't want to do it. Like
I'd have to, she made you do that though.
It was, I would go to like a different room, I would like hype myself up, I'd be sweating and I'd make the call. My voice is like shaking. It's like a 60-second phone call to do whatever, so.
Yeah, but I think also some of that is just personality, because like Mitchell hates that stuff too. Like he's like call, like
can we text?
Yeah, like with certain people and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it is personality.
Personality. Some people are just like,
you're just more outgoing in general.
Yeah. Okay, so our first hangout, we should talk about that though.
That is, our first hangout, did I set it up or you set it up?
I set it up.
Yeah, you called me, and I remember like getting your voicemail because you left a voice message like on our home phone, and I got it like early in the morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, she wants to hang out, like the neighbor girl, because we were like neighbors.
We were neighbors, yeah. And I wanted to do a tea party. And we had just moved to
the neighborhood. Yeah, so we set up a tea party. We did it on your front lawn.
So cute.
It was so cute.
Who else was there? Because there was someone else. I invited someone else too. I think it was like another
I don't know why I keep picturing Maddie being there, but she probably wouldn't have been.
No.
Your older sister. Yeah. Who else was there?
I don't know. It could have been one of your younger sisters, but there was someone, I don't know.
Maybe it was maybe it was Grace, and then maybe it was
one of mine,
Maggie or something.
And then you spilled.
Oh my gosh, and that was during my phase of like, I was still only allowed to wear skirts.
Oh my gosh.
And so I spilled tea on my skirt, and you were like, oh, well, I have clothes you can change into.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I have to wear pants? Like, this is so wrong. This is sacrilegious. And I remember just being in the bathroom, like, you have to come out. Like, you have to wear these. I think it was just like, it's like board shorts.
Yeah, because I was not allowed to wear anything inappropriate or like.
No, they were definitely super long shorts.
Down to the knee.
Yes. Yeah, literally.
So those are things that I'm also not going to do to my kids, though, too. And like, not teach them how to just have them wear the most, like,
ugly thing.
Embarrassing. So when we wore swimsuits, for those of you who don't know, it would be a full one piece plus board shorts over it, going to your knees.
They were so long.
That's the only thing you could wear.
Yeah.
And I was still under such a strict like way of dressing by the time I got to high school that when I got to high school and tried out for the swim team, I'd try out in clothes, in a shirt.
And you still did a really good
And I
time.
actually crushed it. Yeah. And I remember just being there, and the coach was like, can you not? And I was like, my parents won't let me. Like, I can't take off my shirt. Like, I can't even do
Eventually
this.
they did during your,
Eventually,
right?
well, once I got the one piece, but I didn't have it yet.
So you had to wear.
And they were like, you need to wear shorts over your one piece. And then honestly, that's where I just drew the line. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like,
fair.
But they didn't know. That's like the one thing I think I got away with ever. But then actually no, because they like, I think they just ended up being okay with it because they're like, this actually affects her performance so much. They were like, okay.
It's not
they just told me I need to cover up immediately afterwards. That's what it was. I'm like,
it's like a one piece, come on.
It is a one piece swimsuit. It is not attractive.
Yeah, you're also just like a lanky
14-year-old.
It's like,
with braces, like,
yeah.
Gosh, yeah, so, yeah.
But we were both, we had pretty strict, like,
very
clothing.
strict.
I remember, like, fighting so hard with my parents to let me, like, buy skinny jeans.
Just wear something that's not embarrassing.
Yeah.
Well, by the time I was 16, I was able to drive, and, like, we would have people over. Remember we'd have like our Friday swim day parties and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
I would just swim in clothes at that point because I was like, I would rather just have a shirt and like normal-ish shorts and swim in it than what you guys are making me wear because it's so embarrassing.
I remember that, yeah.
I was like, I'm done. And
I did a tank top for a long time too. I was
it's like I just rather do this than have to like. It's just, like, one day my dad was getting away from all the weird, like, super ultra controlling freak stuff. And he was just like, why? He pulled me aside one day. He was like, why are you in your clothes in the pool with like, and I was just with my girlfriends. Like, it was like not even, I don't even know who it was. Like, it wasn't even a crazy thing. And I was like, I just don't want to wear that, like, embarrassing swimsuit. Like, I'd just rather be in my clothes and I don't care. Like, and he was like, this is ridiculous. He was like, you can buy a bikini. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you can buy a bikini. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, go to the mall. Go buy a bikini. And I was like, this is like crazy.
This is game changing.
This is game changing. Like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then that was like, what? And then I was 17 at the time. And this is not hanging out with a bunch of boys or anything either. This is around girls.
Yeah.
And I still had to be in the clothes. So once he gave me that freedom, I was like, let's go.
I feel like I didn't really even understand why. I thought you were just like cool, like jumping in with your clothes on kind of thing. Like I didn't know.
That was kind of my approach. So I was just like, yeah, I'm just.
And I feel like that's how it was for a lot of things that you did. It was like you just made it cool. Like your double tank top. I was like, yeah, that is super cool.
What a classic.
Yeah.
What a classic.
A layered tank top. Like the one, and then the one underneath goes longer.
Yeah. Oh, I hate those. Those are the worst now.
It was so cool back then.
That is something that I found at a Goodwill. And I was like,
really?
These are going to go together.
You're like, this is going to be amazing.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? I was thinking when we went to Target.
Oh, I love this.
And we found those shirts.
The matching tank tops. I got a white one and a pink one.
A white one and a pink one. And they had like sparkles or something.
Yes.
It was terrible.
Those ones I wore in the pool all the time.
Did
that
you
was
wear
my
those?
swimming one. And eventually it got like bleached by the chlorine and I was like so sad about it.
Devastating.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand. When we say a swimming shirt, like, no, this is like a cotton
It's like a normal shirt. It's not an actual swim shirt.
Yeah.
It's like it's not made for that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was also way too old to not be wearing a bra. Like, no.
How old were you when you
like,
started? I remember my mom gave me bras for Christmas, which was really awkward.
You're like, this is so embarrassing.
Opened it in front of everyone.
Were you just like,
I was like, oh, thank you. I'm putting them back in the bag.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I don't know. I was like, okay, what's crazy? Okay, this is how bad this is because I remember Whitney Hayes being like, oh, you're wearing a bra. When I wore a bra. So I was so old.
Oh my god.
I had like those things that were like, literally it's like a shirt material that's in a.
Yeah, I mean those are like the training
had like a couple
ones.
of those, but way too old to just be having that.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
And then I finally got, and I didn't get taken shopping for it or anything. I got a hand-me-down bag from Noelle, and I was like, thank goodness, like, there's a bra in here. Yeah. So I wanted, that sucked, but like, still, like.
Right, I mean.
Whatever.
Not
like,
the worst thing.
Like,
yeah.
I don't really care. Like, but also I'm like, no, I'm not gonna have my kid, like, so awkward face. Like, that's just,
that's just a tough phase in general. It's like, don't make it worse.
Do not make this worse.
Let's
like,
equip
yeah,
them.
you're already so uncomfortable being like, what is happening to, like, middle school age? That is like, that's why I feel like I'm
such
so
an ugly phase. Too. It just sucks. It's just the worst.
It sucks. I feel really like, I have a lot of compassion for that age because it's so hard.
Yeah.
And also you're in trouble a lot because you have an attitude and everything, but you're really just like struggling.
You're
so
just
hard.
trying to figure it out. Yeah. But our first hangout, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, we went all the way from there.
I know.
Okay. Tea party time. That was awesome.
It was just an afternoon thing, I feel like, and I remember my parents picking me up.
Yeah. And then after that, we just hung out all the time.
Yeah.
You invited me over after that, and we made cookies.
Made cookies.
We played Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
Yes, that's right, which was not a good game for you.
Because I was like, I couldn't read it. You had to read my cards and your cards.
Also, like, that was just a hard game in general. Like, I don't know any fifth graders that are that smart.
Like, know
like, they were just
all
random facts.
I was like, fifth grade? That's crazy. I was...
We were also like what,
in fourth or third grade.
Yeah, third or fourth.
Because I remember you being like, I'm in fourth, and I was like, then I'm probably in fourth or third. Like, I had no idea about grades.
The same.
No, I really didn't even know that. So
oh wow.
People would ask me like, what grade are you? And I'd be like, well, this is what I would say. I would say, well, I'm homeschooled. So I was like, so I do some school that is from like my older siblings that they do. And they're in high school and taking college classes. And I said, and then I also do some stuff that my younger siblings do. And they're in like, I had no idea. And I'm
just a jack of all trades.
No, I had it down because I wasn't equipped to answer that question. And I remember this lady, I don't remember who this was, but my parents hosted a lot of things, and this lady pulled me aside, and I could tell she was like judging my family. I knew that by talking to her. Even at a young age, you can tell when someone's like trying to figure something out. And she's pulling me aside, and she's like, so like what exactly is your math book? Like just weird things. And I was just like, okay, lady. And I just was giving her the runaround. I was like, again, my brother who is in like I was just. And after that night, because my dad came over, and after that night, my dad pulled me aside. He said, next time someone asks you, he said, I just need you to say you're in 7th grade. And I was like, okay, got it. And he was like, yeah, that's literally
like, it's not that hard.
It's not that hard. I was like, I didn't know.
Didn't know. Yeah.
I didn't know. I was like, I have no idea. I don't want to ruin
That's
this. Yeah.
So
and I was
funny.
like, okay. I said, no, and I said, all right, just let me know when the next one.
when I hit whichever one is after 7.
Because then I knew. Then you talked about like freshman, sophomore. I knew that. I got to high school and I didn't know what freshman, sophomore, junior, senior was. I mean, it's just 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I didn't know that though. I was still like, what freshman? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But anyways, okay. So clothes and socialization, we would do a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
I don't see. Oh, okay, I have my light on. I was like, oh my gosh, it's not rolling.
It's not going.
No, I've had that happen before. Okay, all right. So clothes, socially, all the thing like that. As far as academics, if they have some sort of disability, just get them extra support.
Yeah, and then I think there is something to be said for some sort of structure, like I like having a window of time to study, like we knew like
I would do
9 to 12 and then we'd go outside or whatever, and then I remember afternoon we would just be outside for hours too.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. Like we would just go
outside.
out and play and
I want to give that to my kids for sure.
It was awesome.
Go play outside. Like just be free, be a kid and protect them from like social media and all that stuff. That's just like, I mean, that's crazy to think like we're the last who are gonna remember what it was like without that. Without
iPads and like phones at 7. I mean, I got my first phone at 16.
Yeah. Same. My 16th birthday. Yes, I got an iPhone. And before that, I shared a little.
Yeah, we had like iPods for a while, but it was like my first phone was 16,
that's right.
17.
Yeah, you had the iPod Touch. It was literally called the iPod Touch.
The iPod Touch. It was so cool.
Touch came out. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So we could like text on there and stuff, like with certain apps. But
with certain apps, you get an app.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
My brother gave me one, and I kept it a secret. And for whatever reason, I didn't get caught. Like, and I was able to. Didn't do anything bad. I was just like, I'm trying to message you.
Literally, yeah. That was the one thing that I kept a secret too. Was like trying to message you, and like we would text back and forth.
Yeah.
But besides that, I was like playing little video games on there or whatever. Yeah. But it was like we weren't on there for long, so we would just spend so much time outside. We would go outside and like roam around so much. My dad got you remember like the little triangle?
Oh my gosh!
And so like for dinner, my dad would come out and he would just like ring this. And then it was Michael's job. It was my oldest brother's job.
This is so weird. Remember I told you I was like, I think I had a dream about your mom last night? Yeah. It wasn't actually about your mom. It was about my mom and when Michael was living at our house, and I kept on trying to cook dinner, and I was like, I didn't plan for Michael to be here. Like, this is in the whole other mouth to feed. So I was trying to make this whole other thing.
Oh my gosh.
And he was ringing that thing. He was like, dinner time, dinner time. I was like, I'm not ready. I literally dreamt about this last night.
That's so weird.
That's so weird.
That was totally his job, though, for a long time. He would go out and he'd ring the freaking triangle, and like, everyone would come in from all different areas of the yard. Yeah, because we had like 4.5 acres, and then we would go out and like roam on other people's property too. So it was honestly kind of a smart idea.
No, it was, and that stuff is awesome.
Yeah, like, just having that freedom.
Best memories going out to the orchards with you, just playing outside, being outside, getting in mud, like going on walks all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when we were at your house, we had a lot more fun. Like, we just
we would be outside.
When we were
at
my house, we were doing chores and cleaning and like.
That's true.
You were just helping me with projects,
which I never like minded.
No, it wasn't a bad thing.
It was like we had fun together doing it. But yeah, at my house, we definitely.
Why we ended up starting our cleaning business.
Yeah, we were like, we should get paid.
I was like, oh yeah, I should just start a cleaning business. And like, yeah, because we do this so well.
Yeah.
And then that's literally how we started. What was it called?
2 Girls and a Mop.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. I heard something terrible though about that's like a name of something that's not good. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, but whatever.
We had no idea.
We had no idea.
It was a very innocent name.
Yeah, in our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, we had room to do stuff like that. And especially when we got to high school, we were just like, dude, this is awesome. We got more freedom. I had my car.
Yeah.
We would go and clean houses, make some money, and then go like hiking.
Yeah.
And I want our kids to be able to do that. To be like, yes, you can get your stuff done, and then you can actually go live, like go explore, go be in nature, go like go make money. Go, don't be like.
No, I remember we'd clean, we'd work, and then we would go to like Bidwell and we'd go for a hike and we would pass by the high school and we'd be like, dude, we could be like stuck in there right now.
We could be stuck in there right now and we're not. That was really cool.
5 hours. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I think especially once I got to high school, I was so much more appreciative of it because I felt like, I had so much more freedom than like all these other kids. And I even feel that for students that I have now because they're just like, dude, I'm so bored at school all day. The amount of times I hear that from my students telling me that, I'm like, you should not be like bored like that. Like not all day.
Yeah, not bored with no outlet. You know, like, there's something good about being bored and then being like, all right, I'm going to go play and be creative.
Because you don't get to do that. You just have to be
it's like
bored.
You still have to be there doing nothing.
Yeah, no, that is And that's definitely something that I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
And would like
that's
to,
huge.
Let our kids have that too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude, have some freedom. Like, go play.
Agreed.
Go figure yourself out.
Yeah, I'm convincing Matthew to
go
the homeschool route. Yeah, well, he had a really good school experience, but he went to like a smaller private Christian
was like
school. I
he
feel like
gives me homeschool vibes.
He gives me more homeschool vibes than you or me.
Literally he does. He
like,
does.
All of his older pictures, I'm like, you're such a homeschooler. You're such a nerd.
You're such a dork, bro.
So cute.
Yeah.
But no, I really feel like he did have like a homeschool experience almost because like,
I do too. I'm like,
his mom was one of his teachers. His dad was the pastor at the church of the school that he went to. You know, it was just like, I don't know. It like his experience feels like a homeschool experience. And that's what I was talking to him about. I was like, your experience is great. And like, if our kids could have that exact same experience, we could consider putting them in school. But I'm like, there's no school like that. Like, I don't, not around here. No, like, you can't guarantee that. Like, that's just, and also private schools are going to be super expensive too. You know, like, you're not the pastor at that school.
I think also too, when you're on a journey of like constant like personal development and growth spiritually, like all the things, I want my kids to see that. I want them to be influenced by me with that. I can't guarantee that from someone else. Like their mentors, other teachers that they're gonna have.
You're not there for 8 hours. You don't actually know.
I don't actually know, and I'd rather be able to like hand pick different like groups and different like tutors who I'm like, do I want my kid to be more like this person than not?
Yeah.
And the reality, that's what you're doing, because and when you have the masses, they're gonna just cling to whatever kid they're gonna be like, oh, I'll be more like this, but I don't know what that kid's being taught from their influences. It could be really good, but there's so much that could not be, and I just want to feel like, no, I'm pretty confident of the people that are influencing my kid.
100%.
But you don't know when they're gone for that long.
No, and I feel like when you actually start to think about it, it's just like, what are you doing?
Honestly, it freaks me out because I feel like teachers, like, because my dad's a teacher, I've been around a lot of teachers and hung out with a lot of teachers. And this isn't me like crapping on teachers. There's a lot of great teachers,
right?
But they're not paid that great. Like, they're not.
No.
They don't have like, so already barrier to entry. You know, it's not like you're like top talent for like, you know what I
barrier
mean?
to entry is fairly low.
It's fairly low. Most people can get in, and then they're like a lot of time overworked. Like, you think about
overworked, underpaid, not incentivized to like, you know.
I'm like, you guys have how many kids in the class? 25 to 30, and now in the school district here with my kids, all their classes are 2 hours long. That's so hard for anyone to be doing anything for 2 hours, you know? Like, I'm just like, so it's just like, a lot of time, I feel like what I've heard from them is they're just like exhausted, they're just like over dealing with kids. So I'm like, I don't want my kid to be,
it's like the same with daycare too, way underpaid. Like, turnover's insane, and it's like you're caring for toddlers and babies who aren't your own, so it's just like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to do the daycare thing either. But it's like, it would be probably a lot better if they were actually paid more. You know, like other countries,
yes, they pay them more.
Pay their
yes,
daycare.
And they take care
yeah,
of them
it's like
better.
the opposite, where their daycare
Yeah.
workers are paid like doctors, and then doctors are like actually lower.
Yes. But does not make sense, I feel like.
It does, yeah. Like
it's
you're caring for a new generation.
The new generation. We got to take this a little
like
bit
our
seriously.
kids that need the most care,
Yeah.
like can't care for themselves.
Yeah, and there's not much room to grow, like, for teachers. Like, you can't, like, if you're in it for a really long time, and we're talking public school and stuff, I don't even know what private is. Like, that's a whole different thing. But even, like, they can get paid better and have better stuff. But, like, if you're in it for, like, the longest time, like, the cap is pretty flat. Like,
Yeah.
you can't, from my understanding, from talking to my dad, it's like, unless you want to then go be like a principal or vice, which is so much more work and that's a whole different thing. It's like, so it's like, okay, I got where I am. I got my tenure, like, chilling. It's like, no, they should be allowed to, like, make more money as they do better. And I don't know. I'm gonna homeschool, okay? So I don't have to deal with this.
It's true, yeah.
Mitchell's on board, so
That's awesome. Yeah.
just need Matthew on board.
We'll peer pressure Matthew into it. No, I do feel like he's, like, the idea is growing on him, especially as, like, I think he's starting to become more aware that his school experience was just, like,
so
an anomaly.
unique.
Yeah.
It was so unique. It was incredible.
Yeah. So
We're happy you had that, Matthew.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, bro. Yeah.
No, I am glad. I mean,
Of
I'm glad it
course,
was a
yeah.
good experience for him. But yeah, no, we'll have our compound. We'll homeschool together.
Yeah.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah. We'll tag team that. Crush it.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
so coming from two homeschoolers, we had very different interactions, and we are both confirming that yes, we would like to homeschool our kids.
Yeah.
Like that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And we were both homeschooled. So also, if you are a homeschool parent and you're freaking out about your kid, if you've given them enough, if you're helping them enough, like, take this, very two different experiences, both doing great in life, both did college fine, and, like,
Yeah.
we're fine.
Yeah.
We're fine. So
We're fine.
Because I feel like that's the other thing, everyone panics about it. Like, oh, I'm not socializing my kiddo now.
Like
I'm
they're
not.
behind, or it's like
dude, we're literally so fine.
you'll be fine. Yeah.
In fact, maybe we're ahead.
I feel like maybe doing better than most.
A little bit better. Okay. Well, cheers out. Cheers out. Thanks for the coffee. Yay. Peace out. Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, I would greatly appreciate if you could share this episode with 5 people you think could benefit from the show. Also, please feel free to connect with me on Instagram at IzzyChinche or my website at izzychinche.com. Thank you so much for being you. Keep being a leader and making this world a better place.